And it seems to me the answer that seems to come is because it's my anger, that anger can't exist. Love can't exist where there's anger.
Yes. You've learnt to be passive with your anger rather than really feel it. You've got a lot of judgment about anger. So if we examine it from the perspective of what we've been discussing, remember this morning in the presentation I said that if we judge something, it prevents us from actually feeling the thing, right? So you judge the anger, which is the decision to remain angry rather than process something else. And in judging the anger, you're not feeling it, so then you tell yourself you're not angry when you really are. Now that stops you from feeling that layer of anger. And the problem with stopping you feeling that layer of anger is whatever is under the anger won't pop its head out then. You know, for whatever is under the anger, which is usually fear and then some sadness, right, that's underneath that, and so forth, the underlying emotions cannot pop their head out, as I would say, into our awareness while we suppress the one above.
I have a lot of trouble just acknowledging my anger.
Yes. So that means you must have a lot of judgment of it, right? Now, God doesn't judge your anger, Graham. So that's God only. Remember, God's view of a mistake is when you become unloving with it. So suppressing your anger is becoming unloving. It's actually worse to suppress it. You're better off expressing it, but expressing it in situations where, you know, either the people around you know that you've got that anger and you can express it, or privately where you can't harm anybody with it. So
I find that if I make a decision, if I realise I've got anger and I make a decision to go off and thump something, the delay, it's gone. It becomes not real anymore. You know? I have to find some way to feel the anger in the moment.
Yes, I agree.
And I haven't found the solution to that yet.
I feel that a lot of that, though, is about your resistance still, your judgment of it.
Judgment of anger.
Yeah. You know, so what I'd be working on first is my judgment.
Okay.
Yeah, judgment shuts down the process of emotion. So judgment is the soul saying you've got to avoid this emotion, right? Because this emotion's really, really bad. It's going to be really bad and people are going to get hurt by it and it's going to be really bad to express it and everything. It's going to be bad for you and it's going to be bad. So this is a false belief that is causing the soul to judge it that way. So what we've got to do again is educate, like I said to Patty, educate ourselves that actually know feeling emotion is the way forward. Yeah.
Like I never saw my mum and dad have an argument.
No, but they never had a good relationship either, did they?
No. Well, I see that as it's an example of the suppression that went on in my family.
I agree, but we can't blame your family.
Yeah.
They are responsible for creating the emotion within you, and even the emotion of judgment they are responsible for creating.
Yeah.
But we can't blame them now. How old are you now? Like in your 50s?
62.
62. So you're a 62-year-old man who now has a will of his own, who can choose to work his way through these particular issues. Yeah. So the key is to see, yes, they caused this. Yes, there was a huge suppression in my family life, and there was a huge suppression in your childhood about feeling any emotion, let alone the emotion of anger. But anger was like the pinnacle of badness.
Yeah.
You know, and yet both mum and dad were basically, you know, angry with each other all the time, but never expressing it, right?
And I never saw it.
No, of course you wouldn't, because they never expressed it. But you would have felt it. And this is one reason why you also have a lot of fear. Like when you're sitting in a powder keg, all it requires is a light, right, before it blows up. And so most children can feel they're sitting in the power keg, and you are a very sensitive emotionally, at your core, you're very sensitive emotionally. So you would have felt yourself to be sitting in a powder keg, waiting for it to explode, and it never did. And that's part of the reason why you're quite shut down emotionally.